Good morning, everyone. I'm also trying to wake people up here, I think, in the morning after your fry up. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys today to discuss the skills gap. This is a topic that we're quite passionate about in Accenture and something that my team and myself have been looking at for the past year or so. As part of our work, we commissioned some research from Amoric, where we interviewed 1,000 individuals living in Ireland, as well as 100 medium and large-sized businesses in the state, asking them some questions around the skills gap to kind of get under the skin of this issue so that we can break it down to a level to find some solutions of how we can move forward. And what I wanted to do then was to share some of that with you, for you to consider in today's discussions and the panels, and as you go away, so that we can work together to find some solutions to the gap that I think that most of us are facing. Good. So the skills gap, I want to start off by defining it a bit, because I think there's a lot of different perspectives on it. And the angle that I'm going to take on it this morning is the gap really that employers are facing between the skills they need to deliver their businesses and their outcomes and what's available to them. And I think very often that skills gap manifests itself as recruitment vacancies, and in particular vacancies that have been open for an unacceptably long amount of time. It's important to note, though, as well, that it's also being experienced from what we're hearing from employers in their existing employee bases. I can say that over the past few years, particularly within the years of the recession here in Ireland, there's been a lot of change going on in companies across Ireland, which is increasing, for example, compliance demands in financial services. Their employees are expected to have all new sets of competencies now around compliance, which they didn't need before. There's a lot of great growth stories out there of our own indigenous Irish companies going global, which is a great news story, but it's also placing huge new demands for skills on them back at home. Then, of course, for a lot of folks in the room, I'm sure it's near and dear to your hearts around technology, whether it be in the marketing division or the HR division. There's a lot of new tools being implemented at the moment, which is placing more skill requirements on employees at the moment, which is generally contributing to the gap. So one of the first questions in our research in the halls of Accenture when we were sitting around was to talk about, is this skills gap real? Or is it just a bit of hype? Is it a few high-profile positions at a few high-profile companies? What do you think we found? Exactly. It's real. So we asked the question to the 100 businesses, what effect is this skills gap having on your business? Over 70% said it's impeding our ability to grow. We are having difficulties as a business growing. New products, new services, increasing revenue, it's impeding growth. So a majority of them are saying that. Unfortunately, we also heard nearly 60% say it's actually threatening our ability to remain the size we are at the moment. There's a danger of contraction if we cannot get a hold of these skills and capabilities that we're looking for. And of course, that's leading a number of people to say, well, then we're seriously considering going abroad to find some of the skills we need because we're starting to get quite desperate. Or we're going to have to make a decision, a third of the people nearly saying, perhaps our investment in Ireland is going to be a bit smaller than it has been in the past. We're just going to have to face that fact. These are sobering statistics or some responses for a country looking for growth at the moment, particularly to help us exit the program we're in with the IMF at the moment. And it's definitely something that says that this is a serious issue now, and it's something where we have a window of opportunity of fixing it. Because if we don't, there will be longer-term ramifications. So it's a serious issue. It's not hype. And then the next set of questions or things we're running around is, what is this skills gap? Like, what's missing? So one thing in our research that we found, flashing news report, technology. And I'm actually not even going to go into that now. I know it's going to be discussed a lot during the day, and it's not news to many of you, but yes, high on the list of of skill gaps was technology, science, engineering, mathematics, et cetera, et cetera. I think most of you are probably familiar with that, and we'll talk more about that, I think, throughout the day. One thing I did wanted to share with you, though, is this soft skills discussion. Yeah? Let's move that forward, because there's also been some discussions around what are these missing soft skills. So we asked employers, we gave them a list of soft skills and said, are any of these difficult for you to source at the moment? Right now, the top three, so what I give you is number one they came back with was leadership. Leadership skills, 45% of respondents said that's difficult to source at the moment. Number two came in this whole area of innovation and entrepreneurship. And to be honest, in my own client work, I can feel that going on out there. A lot of businesses, particularly foreign multinationals who set up here with maybe primarily years ago administrative or manufacturing bases, moving up, as they would say, the value chain and trying to get into the creation of new ideas and not just the execution of others. But that's something that they're saying that they're missing. And then people management was the number three. Then we also asked them, well, in the next 3 years, what do you think are going to be the most important soft skills? Yeah? What's most important? And the same three popped up again. So they said, nearly 60% of them said leadership. Again, is going to be even more important in the next 3 years, the way our business is headed. People management and teamwork, even more important. And innovation and entrepreneurship, even more again. Over half of them saying that's going to be even more important. And I think what this tells us as well is there's a bit of challenge, perhaps sourcing some of these soft skills at the moment, but the gap's set to widen if we don't start to fill them. Yeah? Another question out there is around levels in the organization. You know, is this an entry-level problem? We need more graduates, so we need more folks with a vocational training and so forth, or is this a middle management or senior leadership problem? What we heard back in our survey was that 51% were saying that actually we're having difficulty at the middle management, and in that I'll also include specialist type of roles. 46% saying executive level and 45% at entry level. So broadly we can say it's kind of even across the levels of the organization. But I think it's also important as we think about this skills gap that this is not about graduates only, or about entry-level folks, or about people going through skills conversion courses from the live register and so forth. I mean, there is an aspect of that needs to be taken into account, but a lot of our, let's say, research in addition to this that we've done is there's a lot of stories about experienced hires, a lot of key roles out there at the middle management level in particular, that if we could knock those out, then there'd be a whole number of jobs under them and that could come with those positions. So I think I throw that out for your discussion here throughout the day as well.